This is Lauren.
This is Trey.
And this
is the Partnership Podcast.
We come out the gates hot in this one. This one is about communication and lack thereof, and then seeking clarification. The C's. Oh, okay. Intimacy. What scares me about certain intimate aspects of the bedroom, and then Dr. Betty Martin's Wheel of Consent. Enjoy.
Hey, you're looking fine.
Hi, welcome to the Partnership Podcast. We are in mid-argument right now. Good morning.
You know you're a podcaster when you're like, wait.
Save it.
Stop arguing.
Save it. I'm disappointed too. Save it.
Wait.
Save it. Let's get these mics hot. Get these fucking mics hot. Okay. All right. So Lauren and Holland, we've been having a lighting problem, rough life in here, where I'm too dark and she's too bright, and this porch is too hot. So it got solved yesterday where both were beautifully lit. And I came into the room today and I started moving shit around. And then Lauren came in and says, oh, hey, by the way, we did this. It looks really wonderful. And I go, oh, babe, I moved this light and I moved this light. And she goes, oh, okay. And that's where we're at right now. Go ahead.
Thank you for catching the audience up. Yeah. And what's so interesting, I'm thinking so many things in my head, is that when I am podcasting with Holland, I play a different role than when I'm podcasting with you.
Correct.
And I am the common denominator in both of these situations.
Like you're here for both of it?
Yeah, and you're not here for our podcast, and she's not here for our podcast.
I just like how you used common denominator.
I am the common denominator.
It made me want to put a line and put you under it.
Listen, I love the maths.
Yeah.
Also, typically when we record on a Tuesday, it doesn't come out until the next Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So it is very odd that I saw the footage. Mm-hmm. Very odd at all, because we are behind right now. So she is editing. When we recorded yesterday, it comes out today.
Sure.
So the only reason I even saw any of it is that she was cranking it out yesterday. So
set my timer for 28 minutes.
So I am on the fly. Also, yesterday was insane. Yesterday was like a ping pong ball.
Great.
So anyway, I am frustrated, gentle audience, with the fact that Trey's like, you should have told me these things. And I'm like, what the fuck was I supposed to tell you? And you're saying before we got in the chairs.
Let's back up. So I was like, wait a minute, honey, because I was reading disappointment on you.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And then, because you're like, you gave me one of those. You gave me a, And I go, well, honey, I'm feeling disappointment. I'd love to be included in the plan. Mm-hmm. And then you told me, oh, no, that's just a projection.
Yeah. Because
so I'm projecting disappointment onto you?
You're projecting. My feeling is. And maybe this is my projecting. I feel that you're projecting that I am disappointed in you. There is in no way disappointment in you. Why would I be disappointed in you? You didn't know any of this?
You verbally goes,
At myself.
Okay. I didn't get that clarification. Baby, I didn't get that clarification.
Well, that's
what's the fine line between your projecting and then like deflection versus gaslighting?
Having the conversation.
Okay.
Yeah. I am in no way
I feel like we're doing it out of order then. I feel like we're out of sequence right now as far as having the conversation.
I am sorry that you felt that I was disappointed in you, because I never want to make you feel that way.
But
ever.
You're allowed to. You're allowed to be disappointed in me.
Aware. I am aware.
Yeah.
But there is no reason I should be disappointed in you. I had not communicated. The was, oh my God, babe, until I came into this room, I had forgotten that we fixed the lighting issue. Mm-hmm. Like, wait, what? Yesterday was so boom, 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 boom,
mm-hmm.
boom, boom. I never even considered it. I know I'm the one who even brought up, hey, were we podcasting this morning? I hadn't even thought of it. That's
cool.
my bad.
Okay,
That's
catching everybody up. So the conversation off camera went, okay, you're projecting onto me. And I go, okay, all right. Then I go, well, okay, all right, let me reframe this. I now feel disappointed that I wasn't included in this win.
Yes.
And I didn't know not to come in here, which is, I'm assuming, my right and also my job as like the producer of this, to start kind of tinkering shit.
Exactly.
Moving shit around. Exactly. So I was disappointed that I wasn't included in this, like, hey, I want to show you this beautiful lighting thing.
Perfect. And you get to feel that disappointment. I am sorry. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I think what you might have felt defensiveness in my body about was this, I felt accused of being disappointed in you. There was none of that. Your disappointment, I am sorry for. I feel that. I get that 100%. I would feel that same disappointment. Like, what do you mean you figured it out? Like, we've been trying to figure this out. I get that, and I am so sorry. And that is my bad. That is Holland's bad, honestly. Both of us combined, we could have like texted you as soon as we saw the good shot and say, don't touch anything. It looks so good.
I love being instructed to not do anything. Love that. Don't touch shit.
Yeah. And
would it be better if I framed it in a question of, are you disappointed in me, question mark?
Yep.
Yeah, because I don't want to be, I find it to be a very fine line of like, oh no, you're projecting onto me.
Because it feels like deflection.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to hear that, or it's like I will get defensive myself where it's like, wait a minute. I can tell, like, you're disappointed. I can tell it's like,
something.
I can tell there's something. Much better phrasing. I can tell there's something, and pardon me, if you guys are picking this up, there's a...
I doubt it. It's like every time like even that Siri that popped off, no one could hear it.
Yeah. Anyway,
there's people blowing, mosquito stuff.
There's so much blowing going on outside. So
we wish it was happening.
Where were we? Okay, so I can phrase it. I can ask a question in the future. Because I feel like
disappointed?
I feel like I've been curious this entire time versus like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Which is great. And then and then me sharing my like, hey, I feel disappointed because I feel left out in this process that I feel like we're all a part of.
Yeah.
How do we put out the best content?
Yeah.
And this is the shit that we worry about, where it's like lighting. Nobody cares. I don't think anybody gives two shits other than us.
They will comment on great lighting. Like if it looks particularly great, people will comment.
That's very sweet. What is it about my default that as soon as you said they will comment, in my mind I'm like, mind your business.
That's just how you're built. I love that. And I love what you brought up of, I don't think it's okay if, I tried to say, but I don't know if you heard this, I feel like you might be projecting because I don't have disappointment in you.
Okay.
As I was standing here. But I could see your body, and your response was not reading it, read it like, oh, she's deflecting now. And I'm not down with that. So could I rephrase somehow?
Sure.
How would you like me to rephrase if they're,
Well, you're the sexuality educator, so you go ahead.
Yeah, I think your projecting would not be okay. So if I said that, I am so sorry.
I'm never going to say that.
I am so sorry if I said you are projecting because that's
they
not
gotta
okay.
be like, yeah, that and gaslighting got to be at a diner having coffee
they
together.
They do. They're like, hey, bud. What's that line in the Barbie movie where they're like, patriarchy isn't here? And he's like, oh, yes, it is. It's just in a different way. That's like projection is like the cuter way of gaslighting. I'm not here for that.
Yeah, we still run shit. We're just whispering now.
Yeah. So I would hope that I would model and use, and that you could call me out if I don't. Things like, oh, I feel like there might be some projection here. Because, baby, I in no way am I disappointed in you or with you. Not at all. This is my bad. I could have communicated more. Also, I want to give myself grace because yesterday was insane. While Sweet Holland was editing this is when kiddo, baby, was texting me while I was in session, which then we immediately left that to go get kiddo. There was no talk about the podcast. It was just a weird day. So these things happen. So I want us to always have space in our relationship where I can own up for the disappointment that you weren't included because I know how much you love to be included. And also I want to have grace for myself that yesterday was fucking crazy. And it was, I just kept driving going, this is the weirdest day. Okay. Everything kept changing. Nothing. The day was nothing like how it started with like Holland oversleeping. And she does not do that. She is always on time. The whole day was weird. It's fine. But I don't want to go into my trap, which is self-blame, overfunctioning. I never want you to feel that you are left out, not included, that we made your job harder. No. And I want to take ownership for that. Yeah. And I want you to know that it was in no way intentional. It wasn't like, let's not tell Trey.
I know you don't manipulate me, but if ever, let's do a PSA. I'm going to do a PSA right now. Friends, if you ever feel like, ooh, I'm about to be like gaslit, go on the offensive. Go on the what the fuck? Just hit him with offensive and hit him with, or the nice way is seeking clarification.
It's much nicer.
Yeah, it's a nice way. But in your mind, you could be like, what the fuck what's that?
Yeah, and I want to especially say that to people in female bodies who are listening, because it happens all the time. And folks just sink inside themselves. So what I love about our dynamic is that you're not here for that. You are not here to be gaslit. I hope you all saw it. Trey is not about that life. It's really good. It's really good. It happened in a family group thread recently. Trey's like, no, this is truth. It's just lovely. I'm here for it. I would so much rather you say that and us get to have this conversation and then actually hear each other. Because I think that's the beautiful thing of what you just did, is that you were like, well, hold up, is this deflection? But then when I got to say, oh, this is what I meant, then you also could hear that. You didn't get defensive to the point that it was like you were sticking your fingers in your ears to like drown out my point of view. Yeah. And I'm truly sorry. We accidentally fixed the lighting yesterday. It wasn't like, oh, look at us. It was like, okay, we'll try this. And then we saw the post footage and we were like, well.
Great. Yay. Do you want to talk about the baby and the phone calls yesterday?
Oh my God.
Let's talk about it.
Y'all,
let's get into it.
It has been a few days. It has. So, we all have the baby, and she is my daughter from my first marriage, and Trey is affectionately called stepdaddy.
My second husband.
Over here. So we have overall a phenomenally communicative partnership, co-parenting team. We do a really good job. And like humans, sometimes things go awry, such as yesterday. The 13-year-old going on 45-year-old likes to run the world, which we love. And Holland had even said yesterday, I cannot wait for Beatrice to have her own car. And I was like, yeah, me too. Because she is incredible at logisticizing, just like you. You and Holland and Beatrice are all projectors. You can all perceive into a situation how something could go. When that gets messy is when she can perceive how it should go, but she doesn't have the adult capacities to make it go how she thinks it should go. So I'm in the middle of client sessions, and I get not one, but 3 calls from my child at what should have been bus pickup time. And she knows that I work. I will give her credit. I do not usually see clients on Tuesdays, and she knows this. So she's thinking, I'm sure, in her mind, and she's looking at my Life 360 thing. I'm sure she can see them at Holland's. And she's thinking they're just working. Just working. I have a job. So she calls not once, but 3 times. On the 3rd time, I'm trying to text her, are you okay? I'm in a session.
Yeah, or the 3rd time is like, it's an emergency.
Yes.
Or is it for you, is this an emergency? Yes, this is an emergency.
So that's what I'm texting while I'm in session with client. Because, of course, it's not just a normal pause. Clients are, y'all, I do very intimate work. I think we have established that here. They were sharing the most intimate of details. This was not a good time.
Was this Zoom or in person?
Zoom,
Okay.
2 people at the same time.
Fuck. Okay.
Sharing stuff that was breakthrough shit. Usually, I can find a pause where it's like, hey, my kid's calling.
Yeah.
This was not a good, hey, my kid's calling moment.
Correct, yeah.
Also, when she has a very large parent team. So I'm like, why is she calling me repeatedly? There's a lot of other people.
She has her dad, and then she has her stepfather.
And she has Holland.
That
like,
she feels
she could
free
technically
to
call all of y'all. So Holland, I text Holland and say, can you take this call for the baby? Because Holland's wearing headphones on the other side of the room, can't hear what's going on between client and I, even though she is inside of she has an NDA. They all know that she knows. But she can't hear. She's editing our said podcast that we started this out with. So she sees my text, alarmingly takes my phone like this behind me. She starts talking to the baby, which I'm just trying to drown out. Oh, okay. Like, I don't even know what's going on. And she says, have you called Trey and have you called your dad?
Yeah.
I can hear her saying that. And she goes, okay, once you do, call me back or text me back.
Okay.
Don't call your mom. She's in session.
Great.
So I know nothing. All I know is I get out of session and Holland says we need to go get Beatrice right now.
Really?
Yeah. I could have sought clarification. I could have said, okay, why? She said something with the buses. What did she say? Something, the bus is messed up. I assume in my head, y'all, this is wild. There was so much assuming. I assume, because it's only second week of school. Yeah, yesterday was literally the one full week of school. Bus stuff happens sometimes. So I assumed that like there was a bus breakdown or these are these new electric buses. So I really jumped all the way to assuming that her bus just had a malfunction. And so parents were coming to get kids as they could. Like that the school was letting them be there, but parents were coming to get kids. I just assumed. And I said, okay. And she's talked to Trey and to Adam. And she said, yeah, Trey can't. So I jumped to my assumption.
Which isn't
Trey's
the
golfing.
case also. Like, also, Trey can't is not accurate.
And so I'm assuming if Holland is saying this, she said, yeah, I told her to call Trey and your dad. And so I just assume Trey must be golfing, like is way far away. And I'm not going to make him leave the golf course. Like, yeah. And that her dad must be doing something very important. Okay. So then we get to school and the kids get in the car. Oh, I also find out.
The kids, plural.
Plural.
The kids.
I also find out that we're taking home another one of the kids who rides her bus, which I adore this child. And actually, this is like the most redeeming moment of this whole thing because this kid had a therapy appointment that they were able to get to because I did this. So, yay. Good. And I freaking love my kid. And I love that my kid knows that I will respond to her needs. So this is all yay, gold stars for mommy. What is not gold stars for mommy is that I sought no clarification. I was supposed to have a work hour with my employee during this time before I went to a haircut. Doesn't look great. And instead missed the entire hour because I was driving 30 minutes across town to get my kid from school, dropping her off, driving 30 minutes to take Holland back to barely get to my haircut in time. I get to school, find out, yes, there was a delay with the bus. Something did happen with elementary school drop-off. The bus was coming. The bus was actually pulling in at the exact same time I was.
Awesome.
And that then she and her friend would have just had to sit on the bus for a while longer, which she is frustrated with because it's an hour bus ride. And listen, I hear her. And we drive her to school. We are working. It is okay not to get everything you did need, want, and desire in this world. It's okay to have those desires.
Welcome to adulthood.
It is stinky sometimes. We have sat in traffic. Adults drive places. It is a really good practice. We have all decided it is a practice for the baby to sit on the school bus for an hour because she's an only child who gets basically everything she needs, wants, and desires. So anyway, then I bring the baby to her father's, see her father's car sitting there. I'm like, huh? Then I can see, we all live so close together. I don't come home, but I can see Trey's car right there. And I'm thinking, what's that feeling like? I've been bamboozled. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. It's like, there is bamboozling here.
And who bamboozled you?
My child.
Who bamboozled you?
Myself.
Who do you think?
Yeah, myself.
Yeah.
Because I sought no clarification.
Yeah.
And I feel like we spent the last podcast talking about this. I went outside of my limits.
Yes.
I did not check in with my own limits.
Can I go now? Oh, any more information that you got from the baby while in the car? Or was the bamboozling, was like the peak bamboozling when you saw both of your other support systems with their own autonomy and
vehicles.
Believe it or not, motor vehicles. Was there any clarification you got from the baby while in the car? Or is it my turn?
No, I think what I started to feel was, well, wait a second.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Why is it all on me?
Yes.
It's a very familiar feeling from me. Yeah.
Well, and what I know in my body is if that phrase goes through my mind, why is it all on me? I did something. Something happened. Because nobody in my circle now asks me to work outside of my consensual boundaries. And none of that is not a you all problem. That is a me problem. And so the moment I thought, why is this all on me?
Good.
Then I'm driving Holland back home and a text comes in from the ex about something else that was kind of a criticism of something I did.
We're beefing right now.
Right. And so then I felt tallying all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, I am way outside of consent.
Oh shit. Welcome to my mind.
But I was about to say, but I'm better because
You are. That's
mean it
also
like that.
accurate.
I mean, if I can go to that place instead of a place of curiosity, if I want to throw something back in somebody's face, that is functioning on the outside of consent. And that means that I've also been on the outside of consent. That means I was operating a rescuer martyrdom world.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. I don't live there. I don't live there. So that's when I knew I could check in with my body. And I was like, oh, there's so much here to be excavated. Anyway, yes, please. Because then once I started getting pieces of the story, I was like, what? What? So yeah, share what happened in your world.
Okay, if I go to that place, is it all on me? Then I know that I need to start asking questions or making requests instead of keeping it all inside or bottling. So I spoke with the baby as well, and I did seek clarification. She called me, I called her back, because I believe she started the conversation as like, the buses are running behind, can you come pick me and a friend up?
Oh, she gave you real information. This is fascinating. Okay.
I spoke to her directly.
Okay.
And what was it? It was, okay, when are they going to be here? And it's like, we don't know. And it's like, how long have you been waiting? It's like, I don't know, 15 minutes or something like that. And it's like, okay, you're going to need to wait more. And then it's like, what was the retort? It's hot outside. And I go, oh, is it? I didn't say it like that, but I was like, how about you go back inside or go back? And they're like, they won't let us. And it's like, oh, well, I think you just need to wait. And she goes, but it's going to be an hour. And I go, you'll need to wait longer. And then I even said, okay, I'll tell you what, if they're not here within 25 minutes, text me again. She goes, well, they'll probably be here by then. I go, sounds good. I had full capacity to go pick her up. I was on my laptop looking at NFL transactions. Shout out to all the guys that got cut. Keep grinding. And yeah, I had full capacity, but my collection of information was, this is not an emergency. This is an inconvenience. And also, she said, I talked to mom and I talked to dad, and they were both working. So I'm assuming she talked to you the first or the second time or whatever it was. So
she didn't talk to me. She talked to Holland.
Got it. Where I was like, as soon as you said you went and picked her up, because my literal reaction was like, good. I'm glad Lauren's not doing this, because this is not an emergency.
I can totally see you saying
this that. This is a 13-year-old being slightly inconvenienced. And it's like, dude, I don't have a lot of empathy for you right now.
Because it's good. It's good for kids to have to sit in this discomfort sometimes.
Yeah, you got your phone. Just chill.
Yeah, just
go
chill.
in the shade. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you're going to be okay.
There's
not something you need to get to either. Yeah. Sometimes a kid has an after-school thing or therapy appointment or something like this.
That changed.
Yeah.
And also, she did mention her friend. Like, I didn't get a bait and switch. And you know what? Like, I didn't want to drop off her friend. I didn't want to do all that. I wanted her just to get on the bus when it was time to get on the bus. And so I let that happen. But like, soon as I heard that, like, you got her, I was like, oh. Like, I was like, oh, you didn't need to do that. I don't think I said that out loud to you. And I was like, you didn't need to do that, babe.
I had no idea.
You didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
It was outside of your agency. But you wanted to also, I mean, it is very sweet where you want to make your kids, and I don't feel like she was taking advantage of you because she gave you the correct information, but you are also playing telephone.
I think
you had
that's
a go
right.
between.
Yeah. And I don't think.
And Holland's not in her authority to be like, to ask a little bit more piercing questions like we would as parental figures. So it's just, it was a breakdown of communication. I think that's what we'll title this episode.
Wonderful. You're doing such a good job with your new titles.
Make sure and like and subscribe. I spelled menstruation wrong, though.
You did, but that's okay.
Did you pick it up? Did you catch it?
No, but they actually recommend when you're doing tagging to sometimes spell things wrong because people type things in wrong.
Because most Americans don't know how to spell?
Yeah, because we all were trained the same way, poorly. Anyway, so yeah, we all misspell things, and so it's totally fine. You did, it's fine. Yeah, it was a learning experience for sure, and we will all have a talk with her about this, and also what I did feel into my body later was it wasn't my day.
This is another thing that we really haven't mentioned, where B is with her dad right now.
And every Monday, Tuesday.
And I'm really curious the sequence of like phone calls, and is that important? Kind of yes and no.
Right.
I love that she feels comfortable enough to reach out to all of us.
Yeah.
And I love that she feels comfortable to call you 3 times. We may need to just kind of talk about the nuance of it. I don't think any boundaries need to get, I mean, I don't think she did anything wrong.
I don't either. I literally don't either. I think the person who did something wrong was me, is that I didn't stand in my agency enough. And I think she explained this to me just the other day. Remember, she was like, you should not have said, for instance, I don't have to clean my room tonight. If you wanted it clean you should have said no. And so I'm going to have a conversation with her about that, because she's right. Consent only works so far as someone says, I am not willing to do that. Right? She asked. I always want her to feel that she can ask. And it's what I've said since she was little. I always want her to ask for things when we go into stores. And I will share if I am willing to get her something, or if she can save up her own money to get it.
Yeah,
I felt like I was told not even to ask, so I couldn't feel into my needs, wants, and desires.
Yeah, don't even ask. Like, you're bad for asking.
Yeah.
Don't inconvenience me. We don't want to give that shit.
No, I like that she asks.
Yeah, that's some weird boomer shit that we grew up with. No, thank you.
Ask away, and then trust that your parent team and your Holland, who I feel like is a subpar, like a attachment to the parent team, will stand in their agency. And if they are not able to, they will speak the truth. Because I can't tell you how many times, bless you. I can't tell you how many times, got a little sniffle there. Clients will tell me, but I don't know if I can trust them.
Yeah.
And I want to be a trustworthy person. And the person who wasn't trustworthy is me. I said I would do something when I didn't have the capacity to do something. And we've all had somebody hold that over our heads. Yeah. Oh, well, I packed your lunch for 10 years when I didn't want to.
And that's weaponized generosity or martyring.
It's yucky. I don't want to be that person.
It fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person either.
No. Yeah. And it's a facade. It is not a true gift. And that's how I knew it in my body too, is that I was disgruntled doing it. And that's not okay. That's not okay. Yeah, I was doing a service and I was disgruntled and I was rushed and I missed out on valuable work time. And we had a fun time. I mean, what's so funny is, let me be very clear. We had a delightful time. I love this friend. Holland had wanted to spend some time with Beatrice. We all got it was beautiful.
And this is very important. It's not the baby's fault.
It's
not my fault, and it's not
the
ex-husband's fault.
No. And I think fault is a funny word, right?
It's not their doing. It's not our doing.
Or because if we were to be like, whose fault is it? We should say Lauren's. Mm-hmm. And yet I feel like it's a funny word because it implies blame. Yeah. I think there is an accountable party here, and that accountable party should be me.
Well put. Who could have done things differently, more the significant of all of us?
Me.
Lauren. Yeah.
When we try to point blame, it is just an interesting thing to me.
I was proud of myself because I could have done it. I didn't want to do that.
Good.
I just didn't want to.
I was talking
and then
about
there is a level of like checking in with self. Like, are you supposed to feel guilty because you're not helping?
I really feel like if the baby had texted or called you and said, "Trey, the bus broke down."
Oh, that's different.
You would have gone.
Different. Way different.
Yeah. Especially if you had known that she had called me and I was working way out at Holland's, and that she had called her dad and he was working, I think you would have gone. That the bus was broken down. You sought clarification.
Yeah.
I don't think that's you. I think you actually just used your wisdom. Baby, can I ask an intimate question?
Sure.
So this is all happening yesterday. I'm getting my hair cut. We have been trying to plan a certain kind of night. Can we talk about this a little bit?
Yeah.
Because I think this has been a theme that's come up with a ton of folks recently. And you and I are about to go do the Wheel of Consent professional training, which we're so excited about. So we've been kind of talking about the wheel a ton. And we have been trying to plan a night that we've been calling Trey's Taking Night.
Correct.
Like a night where we set aside time, not a night, a set of time. It could be morning, afternoon, evening.
I need maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Probably 45.
For Trey to just be in taking. Of course, that will say, may I such and such, I will get to consent or no, or set a boundary or a limit so that I can be in allowing. And the reason we've been trying to do this is we don't do this often. We do a lot of 3-minute game. We do a lot of the 3-minute game. And we do a lot of set aside spaces to play. We do a lot of like going back and forth. We don't do a lot of one party just being in one quadrant of the wheel of consent. And that takes a lot of going inside and saying, what do I really want? It takes a lot of saying what you want. There's a lot of vulnerability and scariness in it.
I'm nervous about it.
Okay, so I'm about to get my haircut done. We had thought about doing this last night, and because some things had gotten moved around, and so we were going to have like an empty evening. And so Trey had texted and been like, hey babe, just checking in. Are you still interested in doing it this evening? I would be okay if we rescheduled.
Yeah.
And which was good that he was letting me know because this has been his night. And so I was like, I'd also be okay with that. But we were talking about other things, and you were said, and to be honest, I'm really nervous. This is a first time something for me. And I had no idea what you were talking about. So yeah, talk to me about your nervousness, because this is beautiful. I'm so curious.
Yeah, like, I mean, hell, part of my kink, part of my favorite thing about sexuality is actually like performing and giving.
Serving.
Yeah, serving. So that's really hot to me, and that's what I'm used to and familiar with. So actually just kind of it being like a one-sided, like I'm just going to do this for me, or I'm going to seek my pleasure, it feels very strange, and then I get in my head about it. Yes. Where it's like, what does that look like? Am I some type of kind of chauvinist? Like, is this like a prostitution thing? Like, so it's difficult for me to grasp. But in the same time, if I really think about it, because when we play the 3-minute game, one of the 3 minutes is how would you like to be touched?
How would you like to touch me? Like, yeah, so me saying, how would you like to touch me? And that puts you in taking.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's how I'd say it to you. How would you like to touch me?
If it's taking, are you talking about the taking one?
The taking one is like, okay, I want this and then this, and like, it's almost like picking out something on a menu.
Yeah, of what you want to do to the other person.
Oh, no, I'm talking about what I want to be done to me.
Oh, okay.
What's that one called?
That's service. That's like, yeah, so there's 2 questions. First one is, yeah, how do you want to be touched? Which is you would lay there and receive while I did things to you. Is that the one you were trying to talk about?
Correct.
Sorry, I interrupted you then.
I always think in my mind that's the taking. That's receiving. So what's taking?
Taking is me asking you, how do you want to touch me?
Oh, okay. So receiving is the hard one for me then. I think we're fucking up the verbiage.
Oh, this is so fascinating. This is so good, honey, that we're feeling into this, because it's so interesting. I'm reading the book right now, The Art of Receiving and Giving. And she says that it takes most people like 20, 30 times of playing the game, of talking about these things to even start to get it. She said, have fun for the next 10 decades trying to put this together, because it is so not a thing that any of us are practiced in.
Receiving is hard for me.
So you want to be in receiving for a whole 30 minutes. You don't want a taking night. You want a receiving night.
A taking night is pleasuring you, right?
No.
Go ahead.
Pleasuring me so that I would be receiving a gift is service.
That's what I'm good at. That's what I kind of know.
Trey, will you do this to me? Oh my God, you're so good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like your forte.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the prostitute kink.
Yeah, of you being the
am
prostitute.
Me being the prostitute and being there to provide the client like with whatever they want.
Sex worker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't say prostitute.
It has negative connotations in a lot of people's minds. And so valuing and being
What if
able
I'm
to...
talking about myself?
Then you can say it.
Whore? Yeah, but I'm talking exclusively about myself.
Love it.
So again, mind your business.
We're trying to get into the nuances here. Me saying, Trey, will you do this to me for 30 minutes?
Yeah.
God, you'd be amazing at it.
Yes, and I'd be very comfortable with that, and That's the opposite of that is
Receiving.
Receiving,
If
so-
you said to me, baby, will you do this to me for
That's
30
the hard
minutes? That's the hard one for
that's
you.
the hard one where it's like, honey, do this to me. Or let me do this to you.
Yeah.
But it's not like your pleasure centered, it's mine.
So if we were to put the wheel of consent up on the screen, can you do that in the post? People will see that there is a doing half and there's a done to half. There's a receiving a gift and giving a gift. I think your hardest section is the half of the circle that is taking and accepting. Okay? So I think, as your lover, if I may, I think the two things that are hardest for you are taking, may I do this to you, and being super specific for 3 minutes, and will you do this to me?
Okay.
I do. When I play the game with you, I see it in you. The other day we were playing and you said, will you? And you got pretty specific. I've just been really encouraging you to get specific. And then you kind of dropped off and you were like, and then you can do whatever. And I was like, no. Like, I want you to ask. Because this is actually a aha moment for me because you're saying that's the hardest one for you. And I would agree because what I feel is that you don't want to ask me to do something that I don't want to do, which is really beautiful. Love it about you. That is one of literally the most beautiful things about you. But I'm curious. I'm saying, baby, tell me what you want. Tell me how I can serve you. Tell me exactly what you want. You said, and then you could kiss me if you want. And I was like,
Yeah.
You got to say, will you kiss me softly and gently? Will you lick the side of my face and then give me 2 kisses on the mouth and then put your head on my chest?
Sure.
Because what that does is actually sets me free. Because then I know exactly what's been asked of me, right? It's the seeking clarification.
Yep.
And I see you struggle with taking and just staying in that taking. You'll tell me all the time, like, what was so hard is like not going to penetrative intercourse or not, right? That like just staying in it is hard. I watch it be a hard thing for you. And I think because most of us are conditioned that touch for our pleasure is going to lead somewhere. And that is the receiving a gift half of the circle of the wheel. I see you being really good at letting me take from you, allowing me access to your body. You're really good at, even if I'm like, put your hands down. Like you can't do anything. You're good at allowing me access to your body. You do a really good job there. And you do a good job in service. That is both the giving of a gift, allowing, which feels really silly, and the service aspect. Yeah, those are both giving a gift. So the receiving a gift. Okay, so interesting. I didn't know that you wanted a night not just of maybe, may I do this to you? May I do that to you?
No,
You want a night of,
do this to me or let me do these things to you.
or of like, will you do this to me?
Yeah, that's hard for me.
Yeah.
And then like the pleasure being solely focused on me is a challenging thought.
I think it's a really good idea that we do this because you've shared on this podcast before oral sex, right? And so many of my clients and I talk about this, that so often we're receiving oral sex and we're just enduring and tolerating it.
That was some of my first experiences with oral sex where it wasn't pleasurable. And then when it finally was, like in my 20s, I would so get in my head that I'm taking too long and she is now tired and bored and feels less than. And it's like, holy shit. Then you go down that spiral. So yeah, I like not avoided it, but it was like, ugh. It was like to actually like orgasm was, I better hurry up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear it every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And she literally talks about it in The Art of Receiving and Giving, oral sex. And she said, you know, if you're in this field, you're going to get people who come in and say, I want to be better at receiving and giving oral sex.
Yeah.
And she said, you know, fine, people are going to present with that. But what's interesting is it's not why don't I like this? It's what do I want instead?
Cool. Yeah, it's beautiful.
And I would love to learn what you like instead and give you a whole night where it is about finding what feels good, right? Does it feel most good if, and we have done some of this discovery work just on our own, if we're both lying down, right? And so oral sex on you is both of us chilled and relaxed, almost in a 69 on our sides position where, I'm so comfy. Right? Where it's not on knees or on bed with head strained.
We do so many check-ins like while we're in like lovemaking zone of like, are you comfy?
It's our go-to phrase.
Do you need a pillow?
Are you comfy?
Yeah. Because it's not comfortable for me if you're in an awkward position, unless we're doing some type of like novelty sex. But
And
that's
even
different.
in those
We're
types
in our
of
bedroom,
things,
it's not going to be novelty sex.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it is.
Sometimes. But like, we're not in a hotel room. Like, we don't sneak into a hotel room like banquet room or something and fuck each other. Like, pull a curtain over it and, try to come.
We would never do such a thing like that.
We've done it a lot.
It's so fun. But even in those instances, I'm not always concerned with orgasm. The pleasure of those moments is the illicit nature,
Correct.
is the touch, is the thrill that I get from your skin, from your mouth, from your face. Orgasm is not the goal for me in those situations. Sometimes it happens, but lots of times it does not.
Yep.
It is delightful. Yeah, I think, this has been one of the most clarifying conversations we've ever had. No wonder you're so nervous. I was sitting here thinking, why is he nervous to say, may I bend you over and whatever. I'm trying not to get too graphic on
Okay,
this.
so may I like do these things and
To
like kind
you.
of focus on my pleasure while doing these things? That sounds nice. May I do this, or like may I,
Yeah.
or are you willing to? Okay, great,
Yeah.
that's nice.
I thought, so that's taking. And when you tell me chase your pleasure, baby,
Yeah,
that is me taking from you. Let's be very clear. You are a rod in those moments.
The receiving taking gets very confusing for me.
And so many people, I am so glad we're having this conversation. I get the beautiful gift of talking about this like 6 times a day, right? With different people. So many of whom are like, whoa, did this change your life? And I'm like, yes. And they're like, my whole brain's exploding right now. I'm like, I know. But I think about it. Like, I have so many more reps of talking about this. And I am so glad that you are saying this gets confusing, because it gets confusing to a lot of my clients, because we've never broken down that taking can be an act of receiving a gift. What? Yeah, it is. And we've never broken down that so many of us were asked to or made to accept gifts that we didn't want from the time we were tiny. So we have just been enduring and tolerating the sweater grandma gave us for Christmas.
We gotta be thankful.
Right? The lunchbox mom bought me.
The fucking sandwich that you didn't want to eat. Gotta be thankful, or you better eat that sandwich.
Think how many times we've had to do that.
Yeah, it fucking sucks.
And so we are unlearning in sexual relationship what it looks like to not accept a gift you don't want. And that's tricky, because then we don't want to hurt the feelings of a lover. And yet I'd argue, just like we just saw with the picking up the baby and stuff, it is far more beneficial for us to know what the person actually wants. Right? We kept saying the baby was an agency. She said, will you pick me up? We love that the baby knew what she wanted. That's good. Okay. Then I should have really thought about it in my own body. Was I willing to do that thing? I'm the one who needs to take account. You getting to learn what would really make receiving luscious for you is beautiful. And I love that you've brought up a whole 30 minutes max. This is really interesting that you bring it up, because that's why the 3-minute game is only 3 minutes, because it is hard to stay in pure receiving, not feel guilty, not let your mind wander, bring it back to the pleasure, That is hard. Can we get real graphic and talk about what I asked for the other day for my receiving?
Sure.
And you can cut this out if this feels too graphic. I asked if we could be like in missionary position, and if you could do penetrative intercourse really slowly, because what I wanted to see is if I could focus on the vaginal sensations for a whole 3 minutes without thinking about performing, without thinking, does Trey know I'm enjoying this? Without thinking about what I should do to make it more enjoyable for you. What if I could just give myself permission to lay there and notice? Notice what it felt like if I squeezed a PC missile in a certain way. Notice if I lifted my hips a certain way. Notice if I just breathed. Part of me, for like 1 whole minutes, I just paid attention to my breath, my in-breath and my out-breath. I wanted to pay attention to if I inhaled and exhaled just through my mouth or inhaled and exhaled just through my nose. Would that change the sensation? So many of us have never gotten to do that. Because in the back of our minds, we're thinking, are they bored? Am I taking too long? Is this not interesting for them? It was like a study in my own body and mind-blowing. By like the last 30 seconds of those 3 minutes, I was in a different place than I'm going to cry than I have ever been before.
Great.
Yeah, it was just wild. But I needed to know that there was only 3 minutes in the beginning because there's comfort in that. And so that's why, 30 minutes might be too long. We might need to bring it back. We might need Trey's receiving a gift half of the circle to be just 15. And we do 7.5 in taking, and we do 7.5 in accepting a gift. And those are the 2 questions. May I do this to you? Will you do this to me? And we just see, because that's a long time, babe. It's a really long time. And yes, people ask me all the time, can I coach? Can I redirect in the middle? And I say yes, but what I would really prefer is you to negotiate before it even begins, right? Is it like this? Is it that you like it like this? And is this pressure good? Yeah.
Love it. Hot.
Yeah. How was it for you when I asked for that? How did it feel to be the service provider?
That's my favorite thing in the bedroom. So it was wonderful. To provide like value in the way that you wanted me to. Yeah, that's my favorite thing in the world. And then we get to play. It's okay to play and ask for unique things within the game.
Yeah.
And then there's a time limit for it too. It's like a wonderful guardrails. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
This has been so clarifying though, because it makes so much more sense in my mind that you're more nervous to accept a gift.
Or to prioritize my pleasure would be another way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be selfish almost in the bedroom.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
to be selfish.
Esther
That's
Perel.
what makes me fucking nervous.
Yeah.
To really just chase what I want and be
Why?
selfish.
Why?
Because I am your pleasure is so important to me. Like in and out of the bedroom. Like I got to make sure you are happy. It's one of my favorite jobs in the world.
I'm so here for us doing a night of your selfish taking. Yeah. Because I think, we've talked ad nauseum on this podcast about your capacity to do, right? And be the good boy and the doer and all this type of stuff. And I think sometimes the way we offset that hilariously is by putting you in selfishness, putting you in taking. Yeah. I think it could be an antidote to you feeling it's all on me type of stuff. Isn't that interesting? I always love to say that pleasure is the greatest antidote to pain, and that pleasure and the consensual pursuit of pleasure can heal the world. Because, you are good at doing things, right? We all praise you for your logisticizing. 2 of my best friends were praising you this morning for it. They were like, this is what we need Trey to do. Because you are known for those things. It's not very admirable to be known for one's selfishness. And yet I would be honored to create a space where you can consensually be in selfishness. And I can see what that's like and celebrate it with you and watch you go there, because I want you to think about the fact that you enjoy providing watching me chase my pleasure. I would love to watch you do the same. That felt like just a good ending. Couldn't you feel my voice dropping down? I just felt like it was a really good ending to the podcast. Thanks for coming. No, I was choking on my own spit. You know what's interesting about spit is that our mouths and our genitals are very well connected. And so if you have a lot of saliva in your mouth, it usually means you're turned on. Isn't that interesting? Just interesting. I dated a guy for a while and I always had cotton mouth, and it connected directly to the lubrication in my southern regions. But I will have people with male bodies talking about.
She means dry pussy.
I do. But I will have people with erections tell me, or lack of erection, when I ask about, how's your saliva feel? They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, pay attention. Next time you're around her, do you salivate or not? Okay. Thanks for coming to this episode. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Remember, these are our opinions. We are nerds about a lot of things, but you deserve to make your own opinions. You have a right to informed decision making and self-determination. Please disagree with us. Please unfollow us if you don't like following us. You get to stand in that. If you want to request a free consult, you can go to sexedforyou.com/free consult. I work with folks on this every day. It's one of my favorite things in the world. And very soon we head to a professional credentialing in Wheel of Consent. So it's really good that Trey's talking through these things because he's about to spend 5 entire days talking about all this.
It's going to be tight.
Bye, guys.